a show focused on branding, marketing, and business development.
You brand to inspire, not to sell.
Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick, gives expertise to business owners, serial entrepreneurs, and anyone interested in building a stronger company brand.
Creating a brand is like telling a story. You've got one shot to say it all.
When your marketing works, you've got them on the hook.
Thanks for hanging out with us one more week. We're going to be here next week and the following and the one after that. This is The Hook, radio program you've come to love.
We're doing really well today. Too. Yeah, we've really got it down.
You know what I do for a living? I do marketing for a living, and my part-time job is radio on the Buzz. I can't speak most of the time. You should hear my phone calls. It's tough. I feel bad for our clients sometimes. I'm so clunky.
Clunky. You're smooth. You're a smooth operator, man.
That is Jason Arsmont. He is the marketing maverick. Another week at this.
Another week. It's been a good week.
It's been a year we've been doing this.
Well,
The Hook.
That's right. That's right.
And we call this The Hook. Let's explain this.
Yeah, The Hook. Again, for those just tuning in, we thank you for listening. This is a business show dedicated to business owners, marketing professionals, sales executives. You know, that hook is something I've always used as that moment in time when you're giving your sales pitch or you're doing a marketing or advertising piece, and all of a sudden the consumer decides to engage. They decide to, pursue you, to get back with you, and you start getting them on the hook. And that moment that they're on the hook, all you have to do is reel them in, and that's the very, very sweet step in the sales and marketing process. And so,
yeah, it is.
And so I've always been fond of it. I use it a lot in my terminology around the office at our marketing firm. And so that's what we decided to name the show is The Hook.
I like it.
Yeah.
And you can always catch us online, thehookradio.com. Catch us online.
Catch us, yeah.
See how I did that?
It's very smooth, man.
Thehookradio.com, our episode from last week with David Graham with Carbach. That was a good episode. It really was.
Boy, I was only half drunk when I left here.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I was nowhere even close.
Nowhere even close. But you might want to check that show out. You can go to thehookradio.com, and there's a radio button that has a full list of all of our shows.
Good.
All of them. The good, bad, the ugly.
I should probably talk about our sponsor here.
Please do.
Brightbox
since they pay
Brand Marketing. No, they pay me.
Well, they pay me too.
I guess so.
Yeah. That is our brand marketing firm. That's where Josh and I spend the majority of our time, or we're supposed to anyways, helping companies develop their brands for their companies, their products, as well as deploying and doing all the follow-up marketing implementation for those brands. We do everything from brand strategy and brand development and creative and visual components to web development, graphic design, public relations, social media, you name it. Video, big topic nowadays. We actually got somebody, our guest today is Josh with GoLocal Video.
He's done something for me recently for Paul Ryan Windows, and it turned out really, really well, which is great because what he's able to do is he's able to get a concept, and we kind of write the script for what he's covering, and he knocks it out every 3 months. He's able to produce like a certain package of videos for us to use, and it's good because you have them all at once, and you can kind of sporadically use them in different places, whether it be social media or the website or wherever. And he does it all within just a few weeks.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's unbelievable service. And, I always try to have guests on this show for you all that either one, have an inspirational story or some lessons or some tips, advice that they can give you, or two, it's just a heck of a resource. And Josh is a good friend of Brightbox's and mine and Josh's, but he's not just a video guy. He's really a marketer as well, and understanding how to use and leverage videos to help your search engine ranking and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk a lot about that coming up. But I just wanted you to stay focused with us. You're going to hang on the show. You're going to want to hear Josh. You're going to want to hear about how he does these videos, why he does these videos, and how you can implement a similar type of a program for your business. It's a great, great product.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And what else are we going to talk about today? Let's see. We have our next segment. We have our business tip that's coming up.
Yep. I'm going to talk with you guys about search engine optimization. So you're going to want to stay tuned to that. I still get a lot of questions. What is it? How does it work? How can I improve my ranking on Google and all the other search engines out there? So I'm going to give you guys some free tips how to get your website producing and performing better.
Speaking of performing better, you have a different attitude today. And I know that we talked about this a little bit before you came in. You're looking like all spit shine.
Like a spring chicken, man. I'm feeling good.
Talk about this. I want you to bring it up.
Yeah, so I've been going back. We had a couple months back, we had a guest in studio, kind of a neighbor to Brightbox. They're fairly close to our office, a guy named Bill with Cryo Recovery. And this is a cryotherapy, is like this tank that you go into, and they blast just like freezing cold air on your body. And you're sitting in this tank for like 2 minutes, and it's supposed to get your temperature down to like 48 degrees.
Yeah, you and I did it. And
we did a video.
Got to see each other in our panties.
Yeah, it was an interesting day.
Yeah, hey, it's my boss over there. Look at me in my underwear.
In his underwear.
Taking video.
Oh, we're going to stream this video? How cool.
If ever you want to fire me, I'm bringing that straight to HR.
Well, luckily, HR is my wife, so we should be in good name. But yeah, so I've just been really thrilled. I've been wanting to get back to cryo recovery and do like kind of like a solid 1 week program, because really you can feel it if you just go one time. But I'm told, or was told, that the compounding effect, if you go like every day for a week straight, and then maybe just a couple times a week after that, it'll really help with inflammation. It's supposed to help with your skin. And man, I tell you what, my joints and my back, my knee is just feeling really good.
Do you feel like your chakras are in line?
I'm not 100% sure what that is, but yes, I want to say, my third eye is pointing in the right direction.
Chakra Khan?
Chakra Khan. I think that's totally different.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, man, so big shout out and thank you to Cryo Recovery. If you're up on the north side, 249 in Louetta, they're over there in Vintage Park. So you go check them out, get your cryo on, freeze yourself. And man, gets rid of inflammation, swelling. I mean, man, all kinds of pain. So I'm really tickled for that. And I'm just in a great mood because I got to do one of my favorite things this week, which is going and talking to kids.
Okay.
I hadn't done this in a long time. I did a big tour whenever I was getting ready for the Freedom Run and talked to dozens and dozens of elementary and middle schoolers and or schools, thousands of children. And I just love that. I love giving back to those kids. This was a group of fifth graders at an elementary school, and it was just cool because they always introduce me as the Texas Marathon guy. He ran 30 marathons in 30 days, and they're, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable, and these kids just light up. And then I start telling them about how I'm not really an amazing runner. And they're always looking at me and they're like, how is that possible, Mr. Jason? You ran all this way. And I'm like, no, look, anybody can do anything they want to, right? If we break it down into a process, it's all about the mind. It's all about discipline. And, conveying to them and relaying like how going to the gym and building muscle, it's the same thing with discipline, right? The more time we put into using it and training discipline, the better we can get and the more amazingly or seemingly amazing things we can do with our bodies and with, the things that we put effort and time into. And so I just love doing that. It helps recharge me, visiting with those kids. And so it was good. Got to give some books away. Oh, by the way.
By the way,
giving some kids some books. You can get your copy of the Texas Freedom Run book, kind of a photo documentary of my run across the entire state of Texas. A solo run, 30 marathons in 30 days, all in effort to help raise awareness and money to fight against child sex trafficking. And still now it's on Amazon, Texas Freedom Run. You can search it that way. And all the proceeds go to Love 146. So
fantastic.
Help out a kid, buy a book.
And you could do it for Christmas, too.
Great coffee table piece. Looks good sitting in your office or at your house and starting conversation around that. So.
I feel like we have to say congratulations to someone, your business partner.
Uh-oh.
Don't you think that we should say congratulations to...
Man, I'm on another... So that's like a couple weeks now. But yeah, so Mick Maynard is killing it, right?
Yeah, so if you don't know who Mick is...
Mick is my original business partner in our printing company, Inkbox. So Mick also owns Legacy Fighting. Owned, past tense. Well, yes. I guess going to be past tense come January. Which is another big kind of UFC type. For those of you who aren't involved, it's like MMA, mixed martial arts organization. They hold fights, mixed martial arts competitions all over the United States. And he's been on this trek of starting and running this fight promotions company for, 10-some years, maybe more than that. Started off in a bar at Texas A&M with a bunch of drunk guys swinging at each other, and he's built it up into one of the best, most well-run fighting production companies in the United States. Just really, really proud of him. And so apparently he has sold his company, or merged is the technical term they're using, and has taken a job with the UFC to be the new matchmaker.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
That
it's really cool, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
From going and building your own company to being at the pinnacle.
Yeah.
UFC is the pinnacle of mixed martial arts. And there are two people that run the UFC as far as the fights go. There's Sean Shelby and there's Silva. I forget his first name. Joe.
Yeah.
Joe
So
Silva.
Joe's retiring.
Yeah, Joe's retiring. He got paid a lot of money whenever the UFC sold out, and so he said, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm not interested in working
see you
anymore."
later. Bye bye."
Yeah.
And so Sean Shelby is moving up, and then Mick Maynard is coming on, and he was actually at the weigh-ins.
Yeah, well, it's funny because
right?
obviously I know Mick well, and I'm watching the fights one weekend, and I look up at the weigh-ins. And I'm like, holy crap, what's Mick doing in the background of the weigh-ins?
Right.
I know he's in that scene here in Houston, and they're going in other states, but never in the UFC spotlight. And then it was a couple weeks after that the announcement came out and that he'd been recruited. So I just couldn't be happier for him, man. It's an unbelievable journey.
Pretty amazing.
Just super stoked for Mick. So congratulations, buddy.
All right, well, we got to take a break.
All right. I'm on a roll, though. Let's go.
Got the business tip coming up next on The Hook.
Rumors spreading round, United Texas town, right the shack outside the game.
TheHookRadio.com is our website that also tells you about all of our other websites because we got a lot of them.
We got a lot of sister companies, brother-sister companies.
Yep. This is The Hook Radio. That's Jason Arsmont. He knows a lot about marketing. That's why we call him the Marketing Maverick. And this segment being brought to you by OnToBoxTraining.com, one of those sister companies.
Yeah. So we started Brightbox originally as a marketing firm, and that led into folks asking us to help with other aspects of their business. I have a pretty vast background in sales, and that led us to developing our own proprietary sales training program that we've now partnered with Russell Granger out of New York on the 7 Triggers to Yes, which is a neurological approach to sales. And so we have that at OntoBox Training, as well as workflow process analysis, social media training, branding training. All different types of training programs for your company. So if you've got a department that's falling short, whether it be operations, sales, or finance, look us up at OnToBoxTraining.com. We'd love to talk with you, love to hear from you, and see if we can help.
That sounds good. Yeah, please.
It's good stuff.
Please. And the business tip. We got that.
Business tip. So, this is something, it's extremely complicated, honest.
Really?
Well, it is. There's a lot of intricacies to search engine optimization, or what they call SEO. And typically, to do it extremely well and to do it at a high level, you need to engage with a professional. A company like Brightbox, or, I'm not going to say they're the only one. There's obviously a number of different people out there that are quote unquote experts at this, but you got to be careful because it's not something that you're certified in, or you're, I guess if long as they have a good track record within your space, you can probably trust them. But what I want to do is maybe shed a little light on what search engine optimization is, what areas or what domains or browsers are important, such as Google, Bing, Yahoo, and then maybe some tips, some things you can do without having to have a programmer or hiring a company to help get your website ranking a little bit better.
Yeah, it's tough because I know whenever I first started that whenever I went into the back end of a website, like I logged into WordPress, which is where you change the content for a website. I started looking at it, and you can put meta tags, meta descriptions, keywords, all of that in there. And I was thinking, I can go in there and put a few things in because if you use a plugin like Yoast into WordPress, then it'll tell you, well, it's green because you have really good SEO here, or it could be yellow, or it could be red. Everything I was doing was just red. I could not get it right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Could not do it on my own.
Yeah.
And so I looked at some videos, and I read about it online. I couldn't get it to where it needed to be. Now I've learned a lot since then, but I still couldn't do it proficiently.
Yeah, there's a couple cheats around doing it, and that's what I want to try to share with you guys today. And I guess to start off, so what is search engine optimization? And just for those of you that are listening, it's commonly called SEO, search engine optimization, and it's really the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website. And that's done through a number of different ways, but that's really what it's all about. So when we're talking about SEO, we're talking about increasing the amount of traffic to your website. Now, a couple things to be, I guess, mindful of when you're doing this or you're looking to hire somebody is that it's not just the volume of traffic, but relevant traffic to your site. There's a lot of things that's, I don't want to say shady, but maybe less ethical people may do, which is just increasing volume of traffic to your site. And there's things you can do. There's little engines that you can subscribe to just flood your website full of traffic, but it won't be anybody that's actually interested in your product. And so just make sure that you're not falling to that type of a program.
Because what happens is that they'll make your analytics go up to make it look like there's a lot of people viewing your site.
Right. And they'll send you reports, and you'll be like, oh, wow, we're getting all this extra traffic.
Made up reports.
It's all about conversion, or it should be all about conversion. What are you trying to do when somebody gets to your site? Either they need to be going to the site to fill out a form to get more information, maybe subscribe to a newsletter or buy a product. And a lot of times the SEO firms or people out there, or even business owners that are doing it themselves, are only worried about getting traffic to the site. They're not really focused on the true marketing, branding, the UI, UX, user interface, user experience, to make sure that once they get to that site, they're taking the action that you want them to. So keep that in mind as we talk about this. The other thing, search engines. So I get this a lot too. So search engines are like Google, Yahoo, Bing. And I get questions all the time, well, which one should I focus on? And it's pretty simple. Just so you know, Google still has somewhere in and around 71 to 75% of all search traffic. So if somebody's searching something, odds are they're on Google.
Which is amazing to me. I remember whenever Google first came around, I was thinking there's no way I'm going to change. I look everything up on Yahoo. I'm never going to change that. I'm always going to look it up on Yahoo.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yahoo's dying. Bing is actually coming up. Last report I saw, there's somewhere around 18 to 20%. So they're the next biggest one. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So they're making a run for number 2.
What happened with Yahoo? Why? I don't
I think they didn't adapt. Their email interface. For me personally, I don't know the real reason. I just know why I left was I started noticing that Google was cleaner. It was much more, simple user interface. The email was slicker. Originally, the email platform that Google had, you had to be invited in order to get a Gmail. So you couldn't just go sign up to get a Gmail account. You had to, somebody that was on Gmail had to invite you. So they had this exclusivity around it. And that's where all the developers and kind of web guys were. And so I was like, hey, man, that's the space I want to be in. So I don't know exactly why. Maybe there's some other reasons. Obviously, maybe they diluted their brand. But so keep that in mind. Focus on Google. Also be aware that Google bought YouTube. So quite some time ago. And so with that, you can imagine that things on YouTube are going to grow in favor with Google searches. And, just to put it in perspective, Google has over 1 billion users now. 1 billion users around the world. So you can imagine the amount of volume of videos, and traffic and engagement, and it's seen as a true social site, which means they're not selling you anything. You're going there and watching content out of your own free will for your own interest, and if you're watching the whole video, then it shows relevancy to that video. So keep that in perspective. Google, YouTube, big. If you can play in those two platforms, you're going to do really, really well.
And on a lesser scale, if you use Google Plus, then that's probably a good idea too.
Not bad.
Because you're probably already doing stuff on Facebook, or maybe you're doing stuff on Twitter, but you can feed that into Google Plus to where you show that you have some activity coming from there. It's not going to hurt you because, of course, it's a Google product.
Right. Now, there's all kinds of things similar to that you can do to increase your ranking that really you almost need a programmer or a web person to handle for you. But there's kind of put it in simple forms. There's what I call the 3 C's for a search engine for kind of the common everyday guy, right? Things you can do yourself. Think about it in this way. The first one is content, connections, and conversions, right? So content kind of speaks for itself. How much content are you putting out there relevant to the term that you would want people to search for you? So if you're Houston chiropractor, you need to have a lot of content out there about chiropractic services in Houston and how Houston is emerging with chiropractic and latest trends and technology or whatever it may be. So social media posts, blog posts, videos. Remember, we talked about YouTube being huge in ranking extremely well with Google. So make sure that you're getting some videos out there about your Houston Chiropractic Center. The second one is connections. So connections is kind of like what Josh is saying. Connections can be seen as things outside of your website that are pointing back to your website. So a Google Plus account, a Facebook account, maybe if you have partnerships with a local blogger or a radio show, that's pointing back to your corporate website. It shows that you have a lot of connections pointing to your website of social content, which means unadvertised content, which means it's unbiased. So Google likes unbiased content pointing back to your website. So that builds authority in your site. If the more people that you have pointing to you, shows that you are an authority on that topic. So connections. The third one is conversation. And
now you said conversions earlier.
Did I?
Yes, you said conversion, so you meant conversation.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Content, connections, and conversation. So conversation is that back and forth that you will get on social media, that you get on YouTube videos. If you can get people to like it, subscribe to you, and make a comment. That type of kind of rapport on Yelp is a good one. What is some good ones in the home construction?
Is that House?
House is good. Angie's List is a good example of that
Angie's
because
List for
people
sure.
are commenting, they're reporting, they're grading you, they're giving you 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, whatever it is. Better Business Bureau. I'm not saying that some of these sites are legitimate.
I feel like Angie's List
they do help. Angie's List is booming right now. For SEO ranking. So think about those type of conversations. How can you get everyday users, not big sites and social media platforms and bloggers and radio shows or whatever mentioning you, but how can you get the everyday consumer mentioning you in a conversation about your company?
And the reason that you said conversions earlier, because conversations turn into conversions to your website.
Yeah, I totally just messed that one up.
Not really. I mean, they both play together.
Yeah, so think of that. See Google, think of YouTube, content. Generate lots and lots and lots of content as much as you can, both content and video. Connections, sync your site up with as many different social platforms and bloggers as you can. And conversation, get as many social and individual user profiles talking about your brand. And you'll be halfway there.
All right, cool. We got Josh coming in.
Not a lot of time for that one.
That's right. He's with GoLocal. He's on the way on the hook. This is the hook. We talk about a lot of stuff. Mostly marketing and business, but it doesn't have to be just that. We're just explaining that to Josh off the air. That it's not only like serious things that we talk about.
It's anything relevant.
Yeah.
Anything we think you guys, the audience, would enjoy.
It's usually not relevant if it comes out of my mouth, but
that's like the whole art of the show is me turning it back into being relevant.
Or trying to at least.
Yeah.
That's Jason Arsmont. He is our marketing maverick. And why don't you introduce our guest we have in studio today?
We've got a good one today. A good friend of our marketing firm, Josh Leamon with GoLocal Video. I really like this guy because I've worked with a number of different video production companies. And Josh just has a totally different take on it. But before we get into that take, I want to welcome Josh to the show. Josh, welcome, man.
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, taking the time out of your busy schedule, man. You guys are blowing up over there at GoLocal.
We're doing some video for sure.
Yeah, lots of video. So, I know a lot of people probably, out there listening to the show are always thinking, oh, man, I wanted to be a photographer one day, or I want to be a videographer one day, have my own little company. Tell us a little bit about your background. Like, where did you get started? How did you get to where you are right now? And then we'll dive into GoLocal.
So, long story short, I've always wanted to study business. I enjoy kind of the consulting side of business, and so I've had a marketing company. My wife and I have for about 8 or 10 years. And about 2 years ago, there was kind of a shift in the industry, and things started to change. And our customers were actually approaching us to do video, and so I started researching it. And video is just such a fun thing to do for a job, anyway. So it just so happened that my college roommate was a videographer. And so if we combined my business analytics with his awesome video skills, we could do something together. And so about 2 years ago, we ventured down that path and started getting going.
Now, what's funny is I didn't know that. I mean, we've done work together. You know, I've sent clients your way, and you know, you've sent some ours our way. I guess I didn't realize that you guys came from a more traditional marketing and saw this opportunity to dominate in the video world. So, well, that's cool. Well, that explains why your take on doing video is so much different than a lot of other video houses that I've worked with. So you're not actually the videographer. You're more the strategy, the business strategy side.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
We work with marketing companies or businesses just the same. And basically, we have to do video that's going to work for the application that we're in. And so you really have to have a strategy to do video, right? And that's kind of why my take always sounds different. Everybody tells me that when I go talk to them.
Yeah.
They're like, man, this does not sound like a videographer because I don't have a camera. You know, I'm not the guy that's going to take the video. I'm the guy that's like, hey, this is the kind of video we have. We kind of help design it. And, you know, it's just that's the way you're going to make it where people actually watch and your stuff is relevant.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to
effective
do.
video.
Right.
Yeah. So what were you doing before you started your marketing firm? Had you spent time in kind of the corporate world?
Yeah. I worked in the oil field manufacturing side, doing printed circuit boards, and we worked with some of the big companies in town. And I was in the operations side, and so I got to work a lot on the process side, and we actually marketing was one of the things that I did in that function as well. But you know, that's kind of behind me now. The video is much more fun to talk about.
Yeah. So was there like a take this job and shove it moment for you? This is our motivational minute right now. We're getting the listeners that are always thinking about, you know, there's always somebody out there that's like, man, if I could just quit my job, or if I could, you know, do I need to save up enough money, or like how did it work for you? Because I know so many people are always intrigued with that.
Well, I don't want to get emotional, but it's really a good story because my entire life out of college and in the business world, my entire life, I always knew I wanted to have a business and I wanted to do it on my own. And so two things had happened. My wife had started a small business and she was doing some marketing stuff. And then my dad got sick and he got ALS at 67 years old. And within 6 months, he passed away. And when he got diagnosed, I just looked at life and through some conversations with him, realized that this thing, it's too short to do something you're really not in love with and to not really capitalize on the passion that you have for what you're going to do. And so I at that moment, I just took off some time to spend those 6 months with my dad. And then when my wife and I sit down together, I was like, I don't want to go back. I just want to do our own thing. And so I joined her and in the marketing side. And then I went and talked to customers that she's worked with for several years. And all of them were looking for a solution because everybody's saying do video, but nobody really had a platform that wasn't a ridiculously expensive one video solution, and I knew that there was a better way, and so that's when it all started happening for me. And I said let's go, let's just forget it and let's roll. And
wow, man, that's powerful.
That's
cool.
Cool.
Powerful, man. Jeez, I feel like I need to give you a hug. That's unbelievable. But you hear that, folks. Like, it always comes down to like this defining moment where you've kind of just had enough, where you had this, you know, this opening in your mind to say, you know what? There's nothing really worth to lose. There's nothing to lose here, right? It's not like, you know, starting your own business is going to kill you. Are there going to be tough times and it's going to be financially tight? Probably, but it's not going to kill you, and it's going to give you your life back in so many ways. So that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that.
Kind of to add on, Jason, what I've learned since I just jumped, and I think business owners would like to hear that. What you learn, you go into starting a business thinking it's money, and once you've owned a business for a while and you're out there just doing your own thing, it's really not about the money now. It's about the freedom and the choices and the control that you take back in your life, and the fact that every morning when you wake up, you made the decision to wake up and do what you're doing, and it's a real powerful thing. And I thought, you know, I'm going to quit my job because I see all these business owners that really are successful and have everything, and that's not what I ended up finding. That was the fun part. That's a result of being passionate and being great at something you love doing.
Yeah, it's really the jump that feels amazing. Right. You know, it's Chris Stapleton has this new song out, and he's got a verse in the song that says, "Falling feels like flying until you hit the ground." And that about sums up business for me. Like, I don't care how many times I hit the ground or I hit a rock on the way down. Like, man, I can't help but jump. Like, it feels so good. Like that feeling of falling. You know, you're soaring, you're flying for a while. And, you know, luckily, most of my current businesses have not hit the ground. You know, they're continuing to soar.
Hold on,
but
let me knock
it's
on wood over here.
The fear of hitting the ground is so much less than what it feels like to fly for a while.
Right.
And, you know, when you try that and you get to feel it, you become, numb to the feeling or the potential feeling of hitting the ground. So that's awesome, man.
And it transcends, to follow up on that point, Jason, it really does transcend the rest of your life too, because the things that you used to get uptight about or worried about, you just realize that it's all going to work out, and you just keep doing the right things, and the next thing you know, it's all good. And so
that's awesome. We're talking with Josh Leamon with GoLocal Video. What's a good domain for you?
GoLocalVideo.com.
Oh, well, good job on the domain.
I'm going to look it up now.
GoLocalVideo.com. So you had talked about how people were looking for, how do I take advantage of this YouTube thing, right? And I just shared in the last segment about how, Google is still like somewhere around 75% of all search volume is done on Google, and how, what was it? YouTube just hit over 1 billion users. I mean, 1 billion users, man. That's a lot of, eyeballs on YouTube, uploading content, watching content. I guess what's your view on YouTube specifically? Is that something that you guys are heavily into, or is it like Vimeo and some of these other video platforms for you guys?
I like YouTube because Google's involved, and so
that's kind of what I say.
If you own a business and you're not acknowledging Google's existence, then give us a call. We'll help you out. But I joke. But I mean, Google and YouTube are in a relationship. So the search application for YouTube alone is an obvious one. Embedding videos on your website, embedding videos on that play off of YouTube are certainly advantageous. And you can see that when you rank on YouTube, ultimately you end up ranking on the videos on Google as well. And so one of the things that, Jason, everybody wants to show up on Google. And so I'm using video kind of as a way to get into search if you're not doing the other traditional search things.
Yeah. I was just talking about that. I always say like search engine for dummies, right? Because if you don't have like a programmer or like a technical web guy on staff to go in and kind of do some of the back end stuff and set up all these extra profiles and directories and, meta tags and all this kind of stuff, I always say it kind of comes down to the three C's, like content. What the heck are they, Josh?
Conversations,
content, connections, and conversation. And I think that's where a lot of people don't understand that content, is video, right? Google doesn't see it any different.
That's right. It's just content. It's just like writing a blog. It's just like doing that. And the more specific you are to the person who watches it, that's what we always joke about in our office is, we come in and people say, well, why are you doing video? And the number one reason is because people like to watch it. And so YouTube and Facebook prove that every day. And so since people like to watch it, how do we get them to watch it more? And so you can just be in your business doing video that's relevant to somebody who's searching for it. And you'd be surprised what people search for. You wouldn't be surprised, but you'd be surprised if you can kind of pick out what they're looking for and do a video that's completely relevant to that search. There's people out there that it's kind of like just matchmaking for people for your brand, and that's all it is, really.
Yeah. Man, I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll do a search while we're on break, but there's a great tool that you can use to see how often a phrase or a term is searched for. So you can actually go to this website, type in, like Houston chiropractic, whatever, right? We were talking about this earlier. And it'll tell you, hey, it's searched, 850,000 times a month. So you'll know if that's a good term to capitalize on. If it's searched 2 times a month, well, you may not want to put tons of money and effort into that. But I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss out on is understanding that video is content. So one of the other things that we're talking about is like conversion. Right. And I know that's a big thing for you guys with your videos is not just having things that people are going to watch, right? We're not just flooding volume of viewers, but it's all geared around a purpose.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong because they're like, oh, I put a video out there. It's like, yeah, but did it tell them to do anything?
The most common mistake I see along those lines is that people try to encompass everything into a video. So in 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you everything about my business and every reason that you want to come patronize my business. But what we found statistically is that when you give them one idea and show them how that idea matches what your brand does, they understand why they would want to use your business. And so the number one piece of advice I tell people is keep it specific and just make it down the exact lane that those people are looking for that service or product. And if you just keep it specific and you continue to do that, people will really get an understanding over time of who you are and what you're all about. And so the content, my number one advice is just make it very specific. And I guess that's what I would say.
Yeah, I can remember back, man, this is quite some time ago, but whenever I first got in the business, it was always like these 5-minute corporate overview videos. And I think some of that still kind of like resonates within a lot of industries now is like, I get that all the time. Clients are like, well, hey, we want a video. Think about 5 minutes how to sum it up. We've got 2 pages of content telling you about who we are. And it's like, oh my gosh. nobody's ever going to watch that whole 5 minutes.
Right.
And when it comes to like a branding perspective, you can really only own like one thought in the minds of the consumer.
That's right.
So I think that you guys are dead on with that strategy of like, what's the one thought? What's the one idea that you're going to own for that 2 minutes or 30 seconds even?
Right. Well, and yeah, too, Jason, if you're trying to get a 5-minute message out, nobody says you have to do one video that's 5 minutes. We can do 30 videos that add up to 5 minutes get the message in individual specific chunks. And that's kind of the strategy I think that we are doing that is a little bit different is if we're trying to tell a whole story, do we have to tell it in one chunk? No, of course not. How do we break this up to where the viewer gets relevance out of each time you touch them? It gives you a library to use over time, and it's just a really nice way to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I wonder if that has to do with the way that digital media is coming out nowadays. I mean, you look at like Netflix series. I mean, they could easily just put those Netflix series as like one movie. Right. But they still section them off in like
episodes.
Yeah, like episode sections. So like you want to go click on the next episode. But I mean, I think that kind of almost proves the point. Like,
absolutely,
if Netflix is doing it, right?
Well,
I mean, because they could just as easily just do a 2-hour movie.
Well, they don't. They also don't have the software probably to accommodate one big 8-hour movie to where you can stop
I
it
guess
and
if
come
it's 8
right
hours,
back to it.
That might be a little
much.
much.
I'm thinking about Narcos here.
Narcos.
Yeah.
Don't get us off topic, Josh.
Yeah, we can talk about that for a while. No, and I mean, to that point, you kind of look at the national brands. Does Coca-Cola tell you their entire story in a single commercial?
Yeah.
Do any of the national brands ever do the whole story in one 30-second bite size? No, they take one specific idea and they brand that idea and give you a different message to the consumer. And so exactly like Netflix, exactly like episodes, let's give them bite-sized chunks. And people are designed and trained to consume content that way.
Yeah, I love it. We're talking with Josh Leamon with GoLocal Video. Go to golocalvideo.com. And now the one thing that
hold on. You can't go into another question. You're gonna have to hold it over. We have to hit a break, bro.
All right.
All right. So we're going to come back in just a few minutes and you can ask your questions. You're listening to The Hook.
There's a tangled mess of sheets on the bed, like a sleep pounding in my
TheHookRadio.com is our website, which is where you find all of our interviews that we've done before. Plus, there's a form there. If you have any questions for us, you can reach us there. You fill out the form. You got maybe something you want to tell us about your business that you've done very well with SEO, and this is how. We'd love to share that information. And you can also find out about our other brands. Brightbox is there, OnToBox, got Showbox, ton of stuff at the website, thehookradio.com.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you off earlier, and I know that
it's just my pride. It's okay.
And then afterwards you said, bro, that was my tease.
I was doing a teaser, man.
Oops.
Yeah, but we do want to stress going to the website. This is supposed to be an interactive show, guys. So I need you to go on there and let me know what you're having problems with when it comes to your business, operationally, marketing-wise, sales, so I can talk about it here on the show. Maybe you could be a guest on the show. So definitely go fill out the form, get in touch with us, let us know what's going on within your business. So we've got a great guest. We've got Josh Leamon with GoLocal Video, and we're talking about the power of, I guess, video volume rather than like one-off big videos.
Right.
And that's kind of been your strategy, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe recap what you were saying in the last segment for us.
Yeah, so basically we realized that a lot of businesses couldn't wrap their head around, okay, I've been quoted a price to do a video before, and whoa, my goodness, I don't have that. And I keep talking to people and kept talking to them, and what they needed was content, and they needed a consistent partner that could deliver the content, but they wanted to see how they could afford to do 20, 30 videos a year. Right. And so what I had to develop was a strategy that said, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk to each customer. We're going to customize a plan that works for them, and we're going to break that down and get economies of scale with how many shoots per year we're going to do. We're going to budget. Everybody's going to have to put some budget into professional video, and so we know that. So we're going to kind of work a budget out on like an annual or a half year or whatever the case may be. We're going to make sure that we encompass all of those shoots in there, and then we can either do it on a monthly payment or a per shoot, per edit rate, whatever the case may be. But we break it into chunks, and we deliver much more video for the money, because we're allowing you guys to capitalize on the fact that we went in there with a plan and we got multiple videos for multiple campaigns all at one time.
Yeah, and I just think that model is unbelievable. I think so many times video production companies are being ran by videographers who, wish they worked at MGM. And, so they value the time of shooting is just through the roof. And I'm not saying it's not difficult and that there's not an overhead, you got to get the cameras, and I get that, right? It's just that so many of us small business owners, we can't afford those, a $30,000 video, right? It just doesn't make sense, especially if I need, 20, 30 of them a year, right?
Right.
And so, what you guys have presented to me as a marketing firm and for our clients has just been unbelievable that, there's an economical way to do this. If we'll commit to you, you'll commit to producing videos on a regular basis, and we get high volume video. And that's what it's all about.
That's absolutely true. And then, I tell people all the time, your video is non-perishable, meaning that you can use it over and over again, and you can use it in multiple areas too. So you can put videos on YouTube, and the same videos can go on Facebook. And we can actually take the same footage and position it for, we need a 30-second spot on YouTube and a 15-second spot on Facebook, and we want to combine both of those for a 45-second spot to put on our landing page. Whatever the case may be, we can configure that in an economical way depending on how you're going to use the video. And I think really one of the things that you always have to go into, and that's why I think we're helping a lot of businesses, is because we're going in there with a strategy. Jason, when we work together, we're going in there with a strategy saying, look, at the end of this session, it's not that we have the most beautiful art, because we are going to have high quality video, but we're also going to have an effective tool to go use to market your business. And that's kind of the really big difference that we're seeing. If you end up with a tool that can go grow your business, then that's something that you can get behind and you can put a budget in for. And that's what we're seeing every day.
Oh man, I know it. And then you guys are boosting videos, you're integrating them onto the website and social platforms. I think it's great. I think the other thing too is too often, I guess maybe like my generation and older are still of the mindset that you have to have this extremely, extremely polished video production. And I guess maybe it's just with the younger generation through the use of like viral videos and more like social videos, that bar's kind of come down and people want to see a more kind of real shoot. How does that go into your production? Is it kind of like what client wants or what you think they need, or how do you weigh that out?
Yeah, well, we always going to hear the customer's desires first, but then we kind of tell them, look, this is the way you do it to fit into the budget as well. So we have a vision of what the product's going to look like. We fit into the budget, and you're right, Jason. That's the number one thing. We got to take the shake out. So we don't want a little cell phone. You don't want your brand represented in a way that doesn't represent the quality of what you're doing.
Sure, yeah. But I'm not saying cell phone. Right. Yeah, we need a little step up from that. But
and of course,
sure.
the equipment alone. When I was investing in the equipment that we had, the equipment is amazing nowadays. So a camera that's really, really good is really, really affordable. And you can have the top end DSLR, for example, in the $2,500 to $3,000 range camera, and put a nice lens on it and really get some nice colors and really nice video that you'll be proud of to represent your brand. And then what we do is we realize that, okay, if the equipment, we could have the same equipment, but at the end of the day, we need to light it, we need to make the sound right, and we need to make sure that the shots are framed correctly, and all those are the things that we need to bring to the table, and we kind of count those as givens. But again, you don't necessarily have to have a movie produced every time you have professional video done.
Yeah.
You just represent your brand in a way that's elevated against your competitors, and that's what our customers get an advantage from, is that we elevate their brand above the customers.
We're talking with
competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking with Josh and Leamon with GoLocal Video. You can check out his site at golocalvideo.com, talking about the power of video and how you leverage it. So what are some examples of some industries or types of clients that you've seen your program work really well with?
Any kind of service type industry is really good, because it is a way for your customers to sell you. It's a way for you to show people what it looks like, to take away the objections. Somebody's like, hey, I can just look at the website and I really don't know what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like when I go there. Well, they can tie emotionally to the video and say, you know what, when I walk in the door, this is the experience I'm expecting because we've shown it to them on video. This is what this is the product that I want. This is the service that I want. And I've already seen what that looks like. And then, oh, by the way, I've got to hear from one of your happy patients or your happy clients telling us why this service was the best in Houston or the best in your target area.
Yeah.
And so when people can see that and attach it emotionally, it really removes the objection that they have of, do I need to go to that or should I go to a competitor? And right now there's a real opportunity to use video, because not all of your competitors are using it in this way. And so there's a huge advantage, and the curve is right now to just jump on and do some video that specifically market your product and service down that range. And then, of course, Jason, you can always do product videos. Just whatever you want to attach emotion to and whatever you want to show the public how something works, those are great applications for video.
Absolutely. I mean, we're definitely growing. I mean, even more so, I feel like every day, every week, every month, consumers are growing to be more visual, right?
Absolutely.
And nothing tells a story like a video does.
That's
and
right.
We're becoming lazy when to reading tons and tons of content. And a lot of times, we're not even grasping the meaning of some of that content. So having a video that's really, captivating and telling that story is really, really going to be the way of the future.
Well, and to add to that, sorry, Jason, but didn't mean to cut you off there. But to add to it, the video, what we're seeing is it gives a spark to go to your website and get more information. So you can spark interest where you wouldn't have been able to if you didn't have the video on social media and you didn't have that medium to get people to go read about you more. If you're interested in something, you're more apt to go read about it on a website or on a blog or whatever. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, give them a little teaser, right? Give them a little taste, and be like, oh man, that is interesting. And I think, like, for instance, some of the clients have done really well are like geographically focused, like restaurants,
absolutely,
realtors. I mean, what are some other like hot ones? I mean, I'm saying that because I know you guys have had really good success with some of those
realtors.
Guys.
When you have a farm that's 3 to 5 miles away and you can really hone in on an area on social media, you might have 3 locations around Houston and there's 3 neighborhoods that you really want to get to. It's so much more effective to use video on social media than anything else because you can really hone in on exactly who your target is, how all the demographics that go with it.
Yeah, these guys have some amazing tools for doing some targeting that even us as a marketing firm, I wasn't fully aware of. So I definitely recommend if you're thinking about doing video. I mean, it's an affordable way to do it. Josh isn't paying for this time, man, but I'm just a big fan of your company. It sounds like I'm plugging the heck out of it.
Thank you, Jason. Y'all are a great.
I really believe in the model and the way that you're approaching it. It makes it effective and affordable for folks. And I'm just a big fan. You've had some clients take advantage of it, haven't you, Josh?
Yeah, and the process is so easy. So whenever you came in for Paul Ryan Windows, we talked about what exactly you were going to shoot, what you needed from us, laid it all out, and just a few weeks later, we get 10 videos. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
All this at one time. Okay, so we go through and we look at all of them.
So are those videos up?
Yeah, they're all up.
Okay.
They're actually on the YouTube page, and we're plugging them in with social media.
Okay.
And we're using, of course, they're on the YouTube page, like I just said, because you have to use that. You can
check out Paul Ryan Windows. Mm-hmm. They're on Facebook. Check out their YouTube.
Yeah.
Is it Paul Ryan Windows?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can also check out the website, which is
so you can see the wonderful
paulryanwindows.com.
branding that was put in place on paulryan.com by our company, as well as the video work that Josh's company is doing, because we put our 2 companies together to be able to help this one client out. So check them out for sure. Yeah, it's a great example of kind of the quality of work, what you can expect.
In fact, they're going to be on the show next week.
Oh, Arlen's coming on?
Yeah, he's supposed to.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk about your videos again next week.
Right.
And so whenever you came in and did that, then we talked about what was going on, and then we talked about what's the next shoot going to be, so we can start getting prepared for that too. Very easy process. So I thank you for that.
And the cool thing is, the first shot, the first shoot that we did, we have that in the library, and so we never have to waste Paul Ryan's money again because we have a library of some of the standard shots that we have that we can use in future shoots that we don't have to go back and get that B-roll. And so when you partner with a video company, you can really, if you have the right partner, you can really save money in the long haul because you don't have to reshoot the same things over and over,
man.
and you can re-edit too.
Yeah, it's all assets, right? Every second, every 5 seconds, minute of video is an asset that could be warped and reused in other ways.
Right.
Yeah, and I think so many times that doesn't happen.
Right.
Well, geez, I know there's a lot more about video we can do.
Thank you guys for having me. It was
Absolutely.
awesome. And, good to talk to y'all.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, well, we gotta go now because we got football to watch.
I'm gonna cut you off.
We'll be back next week on The Hook.